Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home. Today we've got an exciting 4K Blu-ray review courtesy of my friends at A24. Hey everyone, so thanks for coming back to the channel today. Today's 4K review, we're going to take a look at the Midsommar Directors Cut 4K Blu-ray, which was sold exclusively through the A24 shop website and provided to me by A24. So super gracious that they were able to provide that to me for no cost to do this review for everybody. This is a limited edition, but they didn't put a print run on it, so when it sold out, they actually notified everybody that they are making more copies. So if you didn't get your hands on the first run, this will give you a good idea on whether or not it's worth picking up when they do go back in stock. So today we'll be comparing that director's cut to the Blu-ray release, which I have here. There is no 4K release of the theatrical cut that has been put out in the US. You can get the 4K theatrical cut overseas. Unfortunately, I don't have that to compare to the director's cut, but I'll still be able to compare the Blu-ray quality, which is the only version available in the US, and compare it to the 4K digital version I've seen, and now this new 4K physical release. So before we get started, if you are interested in this release, I'll leave a link down in the description to the A24 shop link. You can actually put your email in and they'll notify you when this goes back into stock. There's a 4K as well as a Blu-ray version, but I am going to talk about the 4K in this review and go over a little bit of what you get in that package. So first of all, I usually do this towards the end, but because of what this is, I'm going to talk about the packaging first. And this is really a premium package. Now, it's a little bit pricey, right? It's like $50 with shipping, and it's one disc. It's just the director's cut. But I love the packaging here. It's a really nice, it feels like a book, like an old book, not like a new like hardcover, but it has like that almost like, I don't know what to call it, like a felt feel to it almost. And the artwork on this is incredible, both front and back. This thing is going to look great on the shelf. It has Midsommar A24 Director's Cut on the spine. Some really cool stuff. And then opening it up, I love the yellow. By the way, I wore the pink shirt today so that I would fit in with all the colors of Midsommar. But then you have the inside book. This is Midsommar Director's Cut. Of course, the disc is right in the front. So you have the disc here, just the single 4K disc, like I said. And then there's a booklet, which is on some nice cardstock. It has some really unique, like, it really looks like almost like an artisan type thing. It has like this cool, like blue stitching, and the way it's put together just feels like, I don't know, it feels very different from some mass-produced thing, which is nice. What you get on the booklet is you get the foreword by Martin Scorsese, which is really cool, and then artwork for the film and the murals from the Youth House and the murals from Civ's house. So the Martin Scorsese foreword is 2 pages, but really interesting to hear somebody like him talk about it. And then I can't actually show most of the murals. Otherwise I'd probably get demonetized, but here's an example of one that I can show. Really beautiful artwork, and like I said, it's on heavy paper stock, so it feels like a really nice premium release. And then we've got some nice artwork as well on the back. So this is all from the movie. There's some really graphic artwork in this, like extremely graphic artwork, so just be forewarned if you have kids around. Maybe don't let them have this, get their hands on it, but love the packaging. On the back, obviously, we have the iconic shot, the bear and the fire, and then that's kind of it. It's this nice slipcase, and I will give you a quick size comparison, but here's your standard Blu-ray. So this is it's bigger than even a DVD. It really is more the size of a large hardcover book. So it won't fit on like the shelves I have behind me. It won't fit on those types of media shelves that are made for Blu-ray. But I don't tend to just put things like this on a regular shelf anyway. I'll display this somewhere. So it would look great on a bookshelf or something like that, and it would fit there with no problem. So now let's dive into the picture quality and talk a little bit about the director's cut itself. So the picture quality on this movie was actually shot, some scenes were shot at 5K, but the source was actually an 8K source, which is super high resolution. So the 8K source was then downscaled to a 4K digital master, and that's what was used for theaters, and that's what we have here for the 4K release. So it's a true 4K title, but shot at such a high resolution that there's a ton of detail. Now this release here is from A24. I'm not sure if they worked with the director on this transfer or who did it, maybe they outsourced it, but if A24's internal team is doing this, they have a bright future in doing their own physical media releases, because this looks excellent. Now it may be the team from Lionsgate that does most of the A24 physical releases. They've been putting them out, all the A24 movies, under the Lionsgate Home Entertainment label, but this is the first one that is from A24 themselves selling on their site, and the transfer is really, really nice. Colors pop, the HDR is really well done. That's the one thing I was lacking from the Blu-ray. I really wanted that HDR because there's some incredible colors. The fact that 95% of this movie takes place in open daylight is what makes it so beautiful to look at, regardless of what you think about the movie and the contents, and if you think it's too slow or weird for you. It's a beautifully shot movie. Just to look at this, it's like looking at a moving painting, and the 4K disc just looks incredible. Sharp details. The daylight pops off your screen. So on both a projector and a TV with really nice HDR and brightness levels, I saw a great improvement over the Blu-ray, but it's particularly with the colors. The HDR is what strikes me. The Blu-ray is really nice because, again, think we're going from an 8K to a 4K and then downscaling that to 1080p. So we're losing detail each time, but it's such a high source at 8K and then that 4K digital intermediate that the Blu-ray still looks really good from a detailed perspective. I could make out a little bit more on the 4K. There are some shots that were a little fuzzy on the Blu-ray that are much clearer here, especially because Ari Aster uses a lot of interesting kind of focus. He will focus on something in the background of a shot rather than the foreground, and does a lot of interesting things with the cinematography, and I thought it worked a lot better in 4K, but it's really the HDR is the selling point, and it's not a cheap release. Really, I was curious, you know, when you're spending $50 for a single disc, is it worth it? The packaging, really, really nice. The HDR, excellent. The 4K resolution and detail, solid. Overall, a great picture. It rivals Joker for me. Joker right now is my demo disc. That's the best 4K disc that I like to show off from a newer movie, because it's digitally shot and it's super clean, detailed, colors look great. Midsommar here from A24, this director's cut, it's right there neck and neck with Joker 4K. It's really that good. Now audio wise, we're getting the same DTS HD master audio that was available on the Blu-ray, and it's a solid track. So this audio track is super clean. The music in this movie is incredible. It's one of my favorite things about the movie is the score. And there are some shrieking screams and brutal sound effects, and there are points in this movie where, man, have you ever wanted to hear a head just really hit rocks from 50 feet above and what that would sound like? Well, this audio track gives it to you, unfortunately, but it's that good. It's very detailed and it's super clear, and considering this is mostly a dialogue-driven movie, there are some effects, like I said, which are super extreme, and the director's cut has a few more, but it's really a nice clear dialogue track. Nothing to write home about, but even though it's a 5.1, it really filled the room, sounded great. Would I have liked something upgraded? Yeah, it would have been great to hear this in like an Atmos or something, but I think that what we have here is really nice, and I can't complain with how good the 4K image is. Most people, you know, people are still upgrading to 4K and HDR, and I think even less people have full 5.1 or 7.1 or Atmos capable surround sound systems. So while it would be nice, I think that this caters to most of the home theater enthusiasts out there, and it gives you a great audio experience. So overall, the question is, you know, what do you do with Midsommar? Because it's really confusing. This only includes the director's cut. There is no theatrical cut, which is why I kept the Blu-ray and I'm keeping the theatrical cut on Blu-ray. And I honestly think that that's the way to go. Now, if you're not a huge fan of this movie or you haven't seen it, I can't say spend $50 on a premium box set like this. I think the best thing you can do is spend the $6 or $7 that the standard Blu-ray costs and watch the theatrical version. Now, if you fall in love with this stuff and you love Ari Aster's work so far, like I do, he's absolutely, I think, one of the best directors of the past 5 years. This guy is going to make waves in Hollywood, and I just love how different he is. So it's not for everybody. But in my case, I knew I had to have this. If A24 hadn't offered to send it to me, I was going to buy it. It was something I had to have in my collection because I absolutely love Hereditary and I love Midsommar, and I have to support that by purchasing these releases. So I was going to get both. But I would say this is really for the super fan. This is for the fan of A24 and their studio. This is to support them so they can keep making even better merchandise and better releases like this. Who knows what else we may see from them, considering how well this one has sold. Could we possibly see some other director's cuts of other A24 movies? Who knows what we could get. But if you're not a super fan, it's probably not worth the $50. You could buy the director's cut on iTunes 4K digital. I think it's like $10. So if you were really that interested, you could watch that there. Or like I said, $6 or $7 will get you the Blu-ray. No slipcover at this point. I just grabbed this from Amazon. Believe it or not, I didn't have it because I was holding out for a 4K release. The only thing I can say about this is I wish that they had put the 4K theatrical on here as well. But there may be some rights issues there, like maybe Lionsgate owns the rights to the theatrical, but A24 and Ari Aster own the rights to the director's cut, so they could do their own thing there on 4K. I'm honestly not sure, but your other option is you can go buy this on 4K and get the theatrical cut on 4K. There's an Italian version, a French version. They're hard to find, they're expensive, you have to import them. It's going to cost you some dough. So, you know, I'm happy with what I have. If I want to revisit this theatrically, I'll watch the Blu-ray, which is an excellent transfer. But I really do prefer the director's cut, and I'll talk a little bit about that because it adds in some extra scenes that really explain the motivations behind some of the characters. It really goes a little bit further to explain why there's that rift between the main characters and why Christian is sort of not a great guy, really is not great. They explain it much more in the director's cut, and so towards the end of the movie, no spoilers, but you sort of you don't feel as bad as, you know, for what's happening, and you understand it more, and you understand the ending and the motives for the ending a lot better. There's a lot more character development, and there's some really interesting scenes that are added in, including another ritual which was not seen in the theatrical cut, which is another interesting look into that community that they highlight in Midsommar and some of the really kind of messed up things that they go through. And so I do think it adds a little bit. It adds about 30 minutes to an already pretty long movie. The theatrical's about 2 hours and 147 minutes on the back here. So it's about 2 hours and 27 minutes. This is more like I believe it's 2 hours and 58 minutes. So it's just under 3 hours. It adds about a half an hour to the movie. And there's lots of good stuff in there. But if you thought the movie was too long already, you're probably better off sticking with the theatrical. But I do think the director's cut, which is what Ari Aster wanted to put out in theaters, but they gave it an NC-17 rating. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to. I do think this is the director's true vision. And based on what I know from Ari Aster and the work he's done, I'd like to see his true vision, and I personally like it better than the theatrical. It's a shame they couldn't just give him the R rating so that they could make the money at the box office. He had to cut those 30 minutes to get from the NC-17 to the R rating. But props to A24 for putting this out there, especially in 4K and on physical media, to allow collectors like myself to enjoy this in its absolute best quality and what I believe is the best version of the movie. So if you're interested in this, again, I'll leave a link to the A24 shop. Right now, they're out of stock temporarily. If you put your email in, A24 will send you an email when they're back in stock. Like I said, there's a 4K and a Blu-ray version. A little bit different packaging on each of them from what I could see. I just got the 4K. It has the one 4K disc and that really cool booklet. I think the Blu-ray packaging is a little bit different slipcase, but ultimately I think the book is the same with the foreword and all the artwork. So it's up to you. I personally, if you're going to spend the money, go for the 4K release. But again, props to A24 for sending this to me. I was going to buy it, but they wanted to get it on the channel, and I was interested, of course, in reviewing it because I think it's a super interesting concept, and it's the first sort of 4K title that I've seen released like this. So I want to make sure I got this video out for you guys so you know when it goes back in stock whether it's worth the upgrade or not. So that's Midsommar 4K Director's Cut from A24, an excellent package. Above, this is probably the nicest packaged Blu-ray or 4K disc I have in my collection right now. Like, I'm gonna treasure this thing. This is really nice. It's better than any Criterion, any Arrow Video, better than any Steelbook. I haven't had any really premium packaging like this. I don't spend hundreds of dollars on the premium Steelbooks or anything crazy from overseas. So for me, this is awesome. I'm really happy to have it. It's gonna look great on a shelf. It's a great talking piece, and I'm happy to have that Director's Cut in 4K. This is the only way you can get the Director's Cut in 4K physical, even overseas. And so for that, it makes for a really interesting release. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Check out the link to the A24 shop to sign up for their alerts, and check out all their other stuff. They have great merch. They have screenplay books, like I said. Really cool stuff you can get from them if you like their movies like The Witch and Hereditary. They have awesome merchandise. So I'm gonna pick some of that up myself to wear in videos. But again, thank you to them for providing this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on. Follow me on Instagram. Check out all the other links down in my description. I'll also leave a link to the Midsommar Blu-ray on Amazon. If you purchase through that, it helps support my channel, as well as purchasing anything or doing anything through any of my other links. Those are great ways to passively support my channel without me asking for any money. You can support me and support the channel, so that's a great way to do it. But otherwise, thank you again for all the support recently. We've had a ton of video views, and I'm really excited about where this channel's heading. So stick with me, more videos coming. I got a lot of cool stuff to do, so stay tuned for those. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.